How to find investors for your startup. In this video, I'm going to rank all the ways that I use to find investors for any startup that I'm raising funds for, whether it's my startup or startups that I'm working with from startups.com. I'm making this video because one of the hardest things to do is to go out there and find the right investor for you. You can go out and contact investors, and they're all over the place. But finding the one that fits you, your startup, your stage, how much money you're raising, the type of relationship you want to have with your investor can be a mind-boggling and infuriating process. But after raising for 7 startups and over $100 million for my startups, other people's startups, as well as startup funds, I've learned a few things, and I'm going to show you the inside scoop. I'm going to give you all the secret inside hacks that I personally use. But if you stay till the end of this video, not only am I going to show you my S tier, but I'm also going to show you how to use AI vibe fundraising to your benefit. Today, the AI tools make fundraising so much easier to cut through all the noise, and you want to be taking advantage of them. Before we continue, my name is Ed Kang. If we met before, nice to see you again. Thanks for dropping by. Use the chapter markers to skip ahead to the good part of the video. If we haven't met before, nice to meet you. I'm a 7-time funded founder with 2 exits, and that's just a fancy way of saying I failed a bunch of times to your benefit, because I use YouTube videos like this and my channel to help founders, especially early stage founders raising early stage funding, avoid some of the catastrophic mistakes that I've made. Not to say you're not going to make mistakes, but I'm going to try to make your life a little bit easier. I'm also the Chief Strategy Officer for Startups.com. We help hundreds of founders every month raise capital or get that traction to raise that capital, or in general, just launch a successful startup. If you're already part of Startups.com, thank you so much for your support. If not, go to Startups.com, check out what we have available there. I'm sure you'll find it useful. In the meantime, do the YouTube thing, like, comment, subscribe. Always appreciate hearing from you. Would love your support. Let's jump into how to find the right investors for your startup and use AI vibe fundraising. In the F tier, which is not the way that I raise funding, but I see it very common amongst early stage founders, is to use Reddit or Google. For example, a founder goes out on Reddit and says, I'm looking for investors. Anybody know anybody? That's a total F tier. It's not going to work. You'll get flamed by social media, and you won't find any good investors. And the ones that contact you are probably scamming you anyway. I do know investors that use social media to patrol and look for deal flow, but Reddit is not it. Also, if you search on Google, you're going to be equally as frustrated, because you're going to find a whole bunch of results of people trying to sell you their services, and you won't know which one to look at, which ones are credible, which ones to trust. Not a week goes by without a founder contacting me and saying, I came across this service, this website that promises to get me investors. And they say, should I spend the $30,000 for this investor relations package? And I start to cringe, because I think a lot of the industry is taking advantage of desperate founders and becoming quite predatory, at least opportunistic, with trying to help founders find investors. And you might be thinking, well, Ed, that's pretty rich coming from you, since you charge for investor relations. But if you look at what I charge and what these investor relations firms or these other services charge, you would be thinking, wow, Ed, you're really doing us a favor. So don't go on social media. Don't just put yourself out there. Don't go Google the latest thing. How do I find investors or investors for this in this area? You're just going to be led down wrong paths, and it's going to be a thankless, insufferable process. It's already thankless and insufferable as it is trying to find investors. Don't make your life more difficult by using these F-tier techniques. Next up is PitchBook. You might see this service advertised on a regular basis, and you might hear a lot about it. And PitchBook is a wonderful resource with a lot of information, sometimes too much information. The issue with PitchBook, and why it gets in a D tier, is it's so expensive. You pay for all that data, and as a founder, you don't need that much information at your stage. Yes, it's helpful to see investment history, dry powder, all the other details that they are able to go out and research. And the research is very thorough. I just want to say, we used PitchBook for many years, and we really appreciated the service they provided. The information was spot on in many instances. I'm not faulting them for obsolete information, because investors don't update their materials, their profiles enough online anyway, so it can be very hard to stay up to date. But one of the best features PitchBook has is they give you reports on the latest funding rounds, and they also provide sources of investors for startups outside of typical hyper-growth software-based companies like SaaS or AI. They've got a lot of information like private equity, family offices, individual investors, different types of venture financing, debt, you name it. PitchBook provides it all. Very thorough, highly recommended if you want to spend tens of thousands of dollars, because that's what you're going to have to spend. It's at this point in time, after using PitchBook for a while, that I said, this is just not worth it for the early stage founder. We used to get a PitchBook license and sort of share the cost with all our other founders out there and use that for our investor relations research. But as a prototypical founder, I started to think, how how do I scratch this itch and solve this problem in a better way? And I'm going to get to that in the later tiers. Next up is LinkedIn. It's a C tier. It's right in the middle, the average way that you're going to be able to find investors. You start off with a simple search, angel investors in my area. I say start geographically, and that's what I preach about LinkedIn. The other great thing is that you can go research what the investor is all about. You can find out whether or not you fit their investment thesis, and you can make contact with them and start to develop a relationship. I use LinkedIn all the time. I have so many investors connected with me on LinkedIn, and we just chat, share, and we find out what's going on in each other's worlds. And in general, keeping that database active and alive, especially if you're active on LinkedIn, is so tremendously helpful. And then if you combine it with the other tools like LinkedIn Premium or Sales Navigator, it's a fantastic tool. You should be using LinkedIn no matter what, putting content out there, getting yourself out in public, build in public, put out thought leadership, whatever you want to do, so that investors will get attracted to you. And I know many founders who are getting inbound inquiries from investors through LinkedIn. The challenge with LinkedIn is keeping your profile updated. It is a commitment. However, this is where AI vibe fundraising comes into play. Talk about vibe marketing and vibe coding. There are AI tools right now that will automate your LinkedIn profiles, help you automate your content that you're putting out there. I'm working with a company right now, look for videos later on, that I'm using, and I'm blown away by how organic and natural this AI can make my content that I put out on LinkedIn. If you combine that as a landing spot for all your other social media, everything else that you're putting out there, and you foster connection relationships using these AI tools on LinkedIn, you should be fine. Another benefit is you can find a list on the internet of different types of investors, but also there are people on LinkedIn who are publishing lists of investors all the time, and you can just download them and then go look them up on LinkedIn and start to build your own sort of CRM or your own database of investors that you want to target. LinkedIn is especially good if you want a particular type of investor on your cap table. You can build out the ICP or the ideal investor persona that fits you and start to stalk them online and say, I want to make a connection with you, and begin to foster, nurture those connections. And like I said, eventually use LinkedIn in combination of other things you find online, you will eventually get there. Now we get to Crunchbase. Crunchbase is a website, I believe it's owned by TechCrunch, where they publish the latest deals and they put out profiles on investors. In fact, many founders go out and they put themselves on Crunchbase because they know they're going to get discovered by other investors. It's sort of like a combination of PitchBook, LinkedIn, all put together, sort of how AngelList was back in the glory days. But Crunchbase, I find as a very great solution. It's cost effective. You can get a free trial, and then you pay something like $20 or $50 a month. I can't remember. I'm paying maximum price for all these subscriptions. You can download lists, you can save deals, and you can search across multiple dimensions, all the way down to the angel investor that got in the deal, how much they spent, how much they invested, and what is on the cap table for those founders. Then you can cross-reference all the deals, and you say, if investor A invested in startup A, well, then investor B knows them, and they might invest in my startup, or investor A might invest in my startup, or investor A might introduce me to investor B, C, and D. Crunchbase also features all the social links and other links for contact information, because I believe people are motivated to be discovered on Crunchbase, and that's where I appreciate the entire service. Do yourself a favor, use Crunchbase in conjunction with LinkedIn. Get on Crunchbase right now, get a free membership, and just start playing around with it and see what comes up for you. You can sort by all the investment stages. You can look for different types of investors in different areas. Like I said, what's not to love about Crunchbase as a starting point for you to get used to doing investor relations yourself? Another great feature is Crunchbase will send you ongoing updates of what deals are happening, and they begin to gather that intelligence layer for you that you can start to use in Vibe fundraising. Crunchbase already uses a significant amount of AI on the back end to help you, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be adding tools, but nothing stops you from vibe coding your own tools to help you automate your fundraise and get you out there. This brings us to A tier, and that is startups.com. Now, before you go, whoa, Ed, bait and switch, total clickbait, I'm just letting you know that if I don't believe the tools that I'm using are A tier, I wouldn't be recommending them. Furthermore, I'm actively involved in developing startups.com. It's the reason I partner with them. I have been working as investor relations for startups for the past 2 years nonstop, sending hundreds of emails to investors every single day, and I've been gathering that data, and I've been cataloging the investors I find and the deals that have been made and the communication. And what I did is I contributed all to the AI that startups.com was building, and we built it together, and we came up with this tool. Now, before you click off and run away, let me give you a tour if you haven't seen it before. And if you still think I'm full of BS, leave me a comment, and I will make it up to you, I promise. If you go to startups.com and you hit the funding tab, you're going to see these options out here. First is investor matching. Second is investor database. Investor database is what I have been building. And you head over here and you can see all the investors that I have researched and put together here. And there are over 10,000 investors in this database alone. But it's difficult to search there, and I understand. I get it. That's the reason we've created investor matching. Investor matching is a suite of tools to help you automate using AI your fundraise. We have trained an AI to match you with your ideal investors, and that's going to take the guesswork out of there. We have teams verifying that these investors actually exist, and we make sure they're current, and if they become obsolete, we take them out of our database. What you're going to do is you're going to prepare your pitch deck, and then the system is going to analyze your pitch deck, match you with investors. There's me with all the help that you're going to get. I'll help you with your pitch decks. And then there's automated investor outreach. It'll write the emails for you and send it out to avoid spam filters and make sure that this is working for you even if you're not sitting at your computer. And of course, there's tracking. You can get your analytics. And as an advisor, I can look at your analytics and I can find out better ways to help you improve your fundraise. But the best part is you can try it for free. Just go here and upload your pitch deck and it will show you what it can do, match you with investors. Obviously, if you want to start using the tools to reach out to investors, there's going to be a little charge. There's a reciprocation of value. I put everything that I know in my head into this system. And if you want to use it, well, become a member of startups.com. But like I said, head over and try it for free. Now let's take a look at one of the fundraise campaigns that I created for a startup that I'm working with called Elevate Pictures, and they're raising $1 million. As you can see, we already have the investor matches all on the right-hand side, and you can fine-tune your pitch after you've uploaded the pitch deck. And it's written the email for me, and I can fine-tune it even further by writing out my company information. You can input your problem and your solution statement if it hasn't read it off your pitch deck properly. You can adjust your traction numbers or update your traction numbers, on top of which you can adjust how much funding you want to raise to fine-tune it to find you that right investor, and then customize it with additional messaging options. And then after you've been matched with investors, you can fine-tune your results even further by saying, this is the area I want to go into, different countries. You can adjust all the different variables and make sure that you're finding the right investors. I like to always start broad and start to fine-tune after I get an idea of the type of investors that I'm looking at. I'm not joking with you when I say this AI has been trained on my brain and experience. It writes emails the way that I would write emails. It reaches out and focuses on investors the way that I would focus on the investors. This is better than just going to ChatGPT and saying, find me some investors, here's my pitch deck. We have a unique proprietary data set and a set of prompts that will get you there 10x faster than doing things on your own. But as I always say, if you can do things on your own, use the other techniques that I've put on this tier list. Now, if you've been paying attention, you probably noticed that there's still an S tier. Ed, why not just put startups.com in S tier? Why is it only in A? Well, the answer is, if you truly want to be in S tier, you're going to have to use a combination of startups.com and LinkedIn. Those two are going to work better for you in conjunction with each other. And the reason they have to be separate is because LinkedIn is a little cagey in terms of allowing our tools to go in and start to play around with the LinkedIn APIs and use our AI when they're trying to build their own. If you begin with startups.com, you start there, and then you add LinkedIn, start researching the investors, and then you add in all the other Vibe fundraising tools, the Vibe marketing and the Vibe coding, then you have the complete package. I think that you can get away with spending very little for maximized results. The ROI will be exponential because that's what AI allows you to do. Coming soon, I'm creating videos to help you use all these tools totally on your own. This is my gift to you. So if you stick around, you can begin to understand how to do this whole Vibe fundraising thing, how to get AI working for you and increase the chances of your startup beyond all the other videos that I'm giving you on how to create a better startup that investors want to fund. If you're interested in trying Investor Match and uploading your pitch deck for free and seeing what our system comes up with, I'm going to put the link in the description of this video and I'll add it into the comments. In the meantime, watch some of the other videos that I put on the screen. They're going to help you out with the other aspects of your fundraising and building your startup. I appreciate you spending the time with me on this one. I'll see you in the next video.